Yo, what is up, everyone? It is the Beast, Brian London, coming to you live from Alumni Stadium, Chesnut Hill, Massachusetts, just right outside the city of Boston, as Miami beats Boston College 45-20 in the last regular season game of the year. Do me a favor, if you have not already, please do me a favor. I mean, make it like a early Christmas Hanukkah gift, a late Thanksgiving gift, just a gift. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you get podcasts. Just look for the Real Ones Canes podcasts wherever you get podcasts. Spotify, Amazon, Apple, Google. Just go there and hit subscribe. A million episodes for you to listen to. Go back in time, see how wrong Brandon and I were over the season. As Miami finishes the season 7-5 and does it pretty nicely in a 45-20 win over Boston College. Today was a day that was really about this offense. That looked so good today. Tyler Van Dyke on the day, 23 of 36, the most important number, 0 interceptions. Tyler threw 2 touchdowns, had 290 yards of passing. Just a clean game, really, for the offense, other than a fumble. But then the running game came in. Henry Parrish and Mario Cristobal talked about at the postgame press conference just how hurt Henry Parrish and a couple of the other A.J. Allen, Don Chaney, just how hurt the running backs have been all throughout the season that he didn't really talk about during the season. And Henry Parrish today, 11 carries, 111 yards with a 38-yard long run. A.J. Allen, 9 carries, 70 yards. Fletcher, 12 carries, 44 yards. Don Chaney, 3 carries, 12 yards. Henry Parrish had 2 touchdowns. A.J. Allen had a touchdown. Mark Fletcher had a touchdown. It was about the running game today. They needed to do that. They wanted to do that. They wanted to keep Castellanos off the field. But when they had to pass the ball, when they wanted to pick up a couple of fourth downs, they passed the ball. And Xavier Restrepo was there as always. He was targeted 8 times. He caught 6 of them, 117 yards on the day for X. We wanted to talk to him after the game. They didn't bring him in. I don't know if that was on purpose or not. But Xavier Restrepo finishes the year with 993 yards receiving, just 7 short of 1,000 yards. And he wanted to get it. Tyler talked about actually how X was kind of telling Tyler in the last drive, hey, man, I'm 7 yards short of 1,000. But the clock, they kind of ran out of time there to get him the ball. And they didn't want to start throwing when they, just needed to run the clock out. So, and then obviously we saw those 2 guys benched for the first quarter because of the personal fouls against in the Louisville game. So there was that. But just a really good game. And how about this? How about 4 targets for Riley Williams, Cam McCormick with a catch. We saw a tight end. We saw a tight end. Kids, we saw a freaking tight end. That really happened. It did. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw tight ends catching footballs. It was really a well-called game by Shannon Dawson. And I think Miami needed just a very good offensive game that was well-called, that was clean as far as, I mean, yes, there was a fumble, but there was no interceptions. They had 36 passing attempts, right? And they had where's the rushing stats? 36 passing attempts, and let's see, let me do math. 20, 32, 36 rushing attempts. 36 and 36. That's even, and that's what Miami wants to do, is just be even. And then on the defensive side of the things, Thomas Castellanos, I mean, he's one of the best athletes in the conference. A runner, not as much of a thrower. He was 15 of 25 throwing the football, but he threw 2 interceptions for 151 yards and a touchdown. They hit a couple of passes that kind of surprised me, but the big thing is Castellanos running the football, 19 carries for 140 yards. He was sacked a few times. He did score 1 rushing touchdown. But the idea is, if you can limit to Boston College to just Castellanos rushing the football, they had Robichaud, he scored a touchdown, but you don't let anyone else get involved in the running game, and you try to limit the passing game, and you just try to contain Castellanos as much as you can rushing the football. You're going to win, and that's what Miami did today. The defense, they gave up a couple of Castellanos runs. There was times when there was a bunch of missed tackles on a couple of plays. I can think of a Castellanos run up the middle where about 78 guys missed tackles from the Miami Hurricanes. But that happens. We've talked about this before, that in college football, there's going to be times when you miss tackles because that's what happens in college football games. And it happened here. But the big thing is Miami knew that they had to make Boston College a one-dimensional team, and they did. And it wasn't enough for Boston College, obviously. And a big part of that was the offense's ability to stay on the field and sustain drives and not turn the ball over. That was definitely what was important. The time of possession for Miami was like 38 minutes to 22 minutes for Boston College. So Miami wanted to control the football, control the time of possession, keep the ball away from Castellanos, and that's what they did by sustaining drives, right? When you don't turn the ball over, you limit the other team's ability to score because they don't have the football. It's pretty simple. So I thought Miami did a good job today in what was the last regular season game of the year. And now we wait. Mario said, I asked him the question about the portal and what's coming ahead. And he said, listen, we had a good portion of the team turnover last year. And he said, it's going to happen again this year. So expect a lot of turnover and in and out and up and down and portal and NFL and recruiting and all of that stuff is going to get crazy over the next few weeks here. So you keep your eye on it. I asked Tyler Van Dyke about his future, and he said, listen, the game just ended. And he said, I'm proud to be a Miami Hurricane, and we'll go from there. So no answers there. We asked Mario about it, about the portal and guys leaving and coming and going and all that stuff. And he said, listen, we're going to let those guys breathe for a day or two, and then we'll get into it. But he didn't want to address any of it now. Really just wanted to focus on the game. So we'll see what happens. And then the other thing, as I'm just thinking about the press conference that just wrapped up as I'm recording this in the bowels of Alumni Stadium. I have the ACC background behind me, but I am in the basement of Alumni Stadium. So it looks much better than it is, trust me. Looking this way, which I can't show you, I am in bowels of stadium. And the ice hockey arena is like right there. It's pretty cool up here at Alumni Stadium. You get the football field on one side, and then you have the basketball/ice hockey arena right attached to it, and they share facilities. Right? So I walk down the hall that way. It's the hockey arena/basketball arena, and I walk this way. It's a football field. Really weird, but cool. Any event. We asked Mario about Jakari Brown, and he just kind of had a smile on his face, and I was trying to interpret the smile, because it was kind of there's something going on there, but I'm not going to tell you yet, but you'll find out, and when you find out, then, whatever. So was that kind of a smirk? And I don't know what the smirk means. If you know what the smirk means, feel free to tweet at me, at Miami Radio Beast. But he kind of was smirking when he was talking about Jakari. So we will see. Listen, it's kind of weird that Jakari did not play the entire year. Didn't get one snap. And there's got to be a reason. And I've seen rumors, and people have tweeted at me, and, I know this guy that knows this guy, whose uncle's mother's brother's sister's cousin knows this guy, whatever. I don't know. I mean, everyone thinks they know something until they don't know something. So we'll see what happens. But it was interesting, Mario's little smirk about Jakari. That was kind of an interesting thing. And now we wait another week plus, a week and 2 days to find out what bowl game they're going to be in. I hope it's not in El Paso. I'm really rooting for the Gasparilla Bowl in Tampa. I think it's December 22nd. That would be amazing because it's before the holidays. Tampa is a great place to watch a bowl game because Burns Steakhouse, obviously. And it gets me back here to South Florida before the action picks up for the Orange Bowl, which I will be at to cover that one and the New Year and the holiday and all that stuff. So that's what I'm rooting for. But one never knows. The other, obviously, El Paso, possibly the Military Bowl up in Annapolis. I'm not going to leave the state of Florida to go cover a bowl game, regardless, because I got my fix of cold weather up here in Boston, and now I'm going to go back to the sun of South Florida. But yeah, good game for Miami. I was really worried. I was kind of worried when the line kept creeping up, right? It opened at like 8 and then up to 8.5, 9.5, 10.5, kept creeping up. And I was like worried. I was like, oh, this is not good, Mav. This is not good. And what ended up happening was pretty good for the Miami Hurricanes. All right. So let me just tell you this. We are going to have a big show on the Real Ones Canes podcast this week. I can't promise this is going to happen this week, but Will Manso from Local 10 in South Florida and George Sedano of ESPN fame, formerly of 7 Night of the Ticket and other places in South Florida, they were going at it on Twitter about whether this was a successful season for the Canes or not this year. And so I'm going to hope to track those guys down, and Brandon and I will put them on the hot seat and see if we can get a little feisty going on the Real Ones Canes podcast. We'll have some other big guests as well. We're going to have great content for you. Brandon is really tied in so much more than he lets on to all the recruiting and the portal and all that stuff. So we'll have plenty of breakdown of all of that and plenty of analysis of all that. So you want to keep it on the Real Ones Canes podcast. Do me a favor. If you're listening to this, thank you. You have subscribed to the podcast. Now go find our YouTube channel. Go to YouTube and look for the Real Ones Canes podcast. And if you're watching this on the YouTube, then go subscribe to the podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, just go find Real Ones Canes podcast and subscribe. Now, if you've not gotten into podcasts yet, they're great. They're like things you can listen to on your computer, on your phone, on your tablet. You can even hook the little plug into your phone, and in your car, you're driving, you listen to a podcast. It's a great thing. So go find the podcast wherever you can get podcasts. It is a wonderful experience. Again, the final score in the last game of the regular season for the Miami Hurricanes is Miami 45, Boston College 20. Miami finishes the season 7-5. Thank you guys for watching and listening and supporting all year long. Hope you had an amazing Thanksgiving. I will see you guys back in South Florida, and we'll talk to you next Thursday on the Real Ones Canes podcast. See you when I see you. Peace!